Welcome back to Unified Reality, where we delve into IRL and URL. On today's episode, we have Guillaume Therien, Innovation and Investment, exploring the VC and AI landscape. How are you, Guillaume? Welcome to Unified Reality.
Thanks so much for having me.
Great. So we're going to jump right into it. I've known you for several years, and you are pretty known around Montreal, Canada, and even in the world for being a really strong innovator, well, a VC with innovation in mind, and you have a great past. So tell us a bit about yourself and outline your roles in the past and what got you to where you are today.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I'm super excited to be here. I would say what defined me is music. I'm a huge music fan. I've been touched by music earlier on, in my teenager time, and I subscribed to Columbia, got screwed. I screwed my credit, but I loved it, and I went into the music and the music business and behind the scene and all that stuff, and it was so intriguing for me. So that's why I decided to do my business school at HEC. But I always wanted to work for a label, keep in mind, in the 90s and beginning of 2000, labels were the holy grail. So I did my school, knock at the door of BMG Music, which was on St. Laurent Street back in the days. I was not speaking a word in English. They said, learn English, come back. I came back with a broken English. They hired me. They was probably desperate. And I loved it. I was taking care of, merchandising, sales, dealing with, the music world, HMV. I feel that we're in past world, and the Costco and all that stuff. So I learned a lot working on marketing, campaign for Quebec artists, Canadian artists, and Napster came and, all the streaming. And I was like, wow, that's so interesting. And since I'm a fan, for me, it was such a new environment to share my passion with others. But as you can imagine, labels were freaking out. So I decided to, I think it probably influenced my path after that. So I moved into a role at the marketing agency. I was taking care of the ringtones, the licensing on mobile of music. So back in the days.
You're reminding me of some good memories.
And I worked for my job at the agency was connecting brands with entertainment, so music festival, DJs and stuff like that. So fun time.
So before you go a bit further, because I'm a really big music fan myself too, so I want to just dig it a little bit more. So Richard behind the scenes, our CTO. Me and Richard met, actually. I used to be a mixtape DJ, and he used to be a videographer, and we started an agency, this YouTube channel called Real City TV. It's still there, but we haven't posted stuff. So what was the first album that you bought, if you remember? What's your favorite album from that era, let's say from the 90s? Were you more like a hip-hop fan or more soft rock alternative fan, or... But in the 90s, we had everything, really. We had soft rock, alternative, hip-hop, urban, R&B. It was such a good era, well, for me, because I grew up.
I might surprise you, but for me, that was Nine Inch Nails. For me, industrial music, because I was heavy. I love metal. But when I heard Trent Reznor, which is actually one of my hero, business-wise, creative, and all that stuff, and that was beautiful destruction. That was organized chaos. There was so much layer. That was not just brutal metal. That was just sadness, melancholy. That was just pure beauty. And I think a Downward Spiral is probably one of the most defining album of the 90s, if it's not the one.
It's a really good album.
So and funny enough, Dre and Trent Reznor are close friend, and I think they define what 90s is with, Interscope. They were both signed, and after that they signed, one signed Marilyn Manson and the other one signed, Eminem. And so, I would say, Nine Inch Nails was, probably what defined me and what, shook me the most.
And so when you went into the music business, was your goal to like own a company, or more like on the marketing side, on the management side, or just anything?
Man, I was just so excited to be like, I was BMG, man. I was like, wow. And after that, they merged with Sony. So I was like, oh, they kept me. And I was like, oh my God. I think they were paying me like not even $30K. But I was like,
Dude, we're like,
and my all my friends will remember, but the luggage, my car was full of CDs, and I was like giving CDs to people, and I had passes to all the festivals, and I was going to see, like, I've seen shows like crazy.
It's funny because I kind of have the same background without actually knowing you or meeting you.
We
back
probably
then.
met, at a couple of shows.
So me, I wasn't working for the labels directly. I would go see the artists. I would say, give me a single, or I was part of the DJ pools, and I would just get singles, and CDs came out, Napster, so I bought a burner, a 2X burner.
Yeah.
It'd take like so long to burn CDs, and we had printers, and eventually we had a bunch of machines. So when I met Rich, he told me, hey, I need 5,000 copies of this DVD. He said, okay, let's do it. Oh, why don't we partner and just do everything together? Let's get an office. And that's how Genius Marketing was born in 2007.
There you go.
I'd say we printed about 300,000 CDs in Quebec. So an artist, I'll show you the box because I found the box. I kept one of each CD. Artists would go on MySpace back then and say, yo, en français, j'ai vendu 10,000 albums. I sold 10,000 albums. And I would say, no, I printed them. You only printed 500. So yeah, you can't go on MySpace and say that. It was the beginning of the SoundCloud rapper.
Here we go.
So you talked about Napster. Tell us a bit about more of that, because it's very interesting for me, and I think for everyone that's listening, this transition, right? Yeah. We went from tapes to MP3 and to now streaming. So the Napster era really brought in Spotify, really. It was a proof of concept.
Yeah. But first, and I think it led me to where am I now and why I'm doing this is, I think, music is always the first one to be disrupted with technology. Always. And it obviously it's not always in favor of the artist. Let's face it. And I agree. But, technology, music and people who are listening to music are early adopters of new technology. So what was exciting for me, it was the peer-to-peer type of relationship, finding someone who likes the same music than me and, sharing with them. So like the Napster, like LimeWire and all those guys, that was it. That was defining. And after that, MySpace brought the social aspect to it. Oh my God, I can talk or comment with directly with my artists. So I think that was super interesting. And after that, Spotify came, and all the labels joined, and they define him as the king of the hill. Like, let's face it. And Spotify is there to stay. And they're trying to reinvent themselves, but streaming is obviously the major part of the business, of the music business.
So you believe they're here to stay? I believe so too. They've solidified their position, especially because the big shareholders are the labels. Yeah. So they have some sort of control. I just feel like maybe some of the artists might not feel good in the situation.
100%. I think it's.
As technology rolls out, it feels like we get less and less artists. I'm not an artist, but I mean,
100%. 100%. And I think we'll probably talk about the creator economy and later on. But the problem is there are no middle class. There's big winners, and people who are. I think there's 100,000 new songs per week on Spotify. Like it.
It's too much.
It's too much. So
that's interesting how you said it. There's like these really popular winners and everyone else, which is kind of on the bottom, and they're just trying to make it, but they're in a sea of content, which is like impossible. On YouTube right now, it's 6,000 videos a minute uploaded. Like, that is insane.
Yeah, exactly.
How can you even compete if? Yeah, we'll talk about it later on. So. That's a good journey. And then tell us a bit more. So after BMG, how did you end up being a VC, or how did you end up being in capital?
That was so not like, I had no long-term vision on my career. It was always like a gig. I wanted to, and I'm really driven by challenges. And after that, I went to the Opera of Montreal. I'm not a classical guy, all that stuff, but their problem was so interesting as a business operator and marketing guy and sales driven. Their subscriber were dying. Like clientele was dying. Like
literally.
Literally. So it's so fun to address that problem of, how can we recruit new clientele?
How do we replace the clientele?
So I did that. I thought maybe, that was just a quick stop, 1 or 2 years. I spent, 5 years. I had so much fun learning about that. And, that was the era of, ticket sales, merge with, CRM and dynamic pricing and
all that stuff.
All that stuff that was so interesting. And, the big data and, getting into that and changing from traditional advertising to digital. So I learned a lot out there, and we ended up, with my last gig was, the Roger Water, the Wall Opera. So convincing Roger Water to license the Wall.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So yeah,
that's a really nice project.
So that was fun. 10 sold out nights in Montreal at the Salle Wilfrid Pelletier. So that was a great night. That was a great that was a journey. After that, I went a little bit at Québécois broadcasting. Interesting.
On the advertising side or publishing or
on broadcasting. So on TVA Sports.
Oh, like okay,
TVA.
yeah.
And
this was a few years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago.
So, and was that already you were seeing the decline already, right?
Yeah.
It was already like the boat was already sinking.
Yep. So it's and I didn't quit because I was not. I think that was a great team. First, that was a great team, but you need so much innovation, and it's such a regulated market with CRTC and all that stuff, and so they were stuck, with what they have to offer. So that was a bit for me. It was being creative, innovative, trying to do stuff different. That was not really my the best place for me. I went to after that Just for Laugh as a CMO. And
that's great. And I remember you being there.
Yeah. So and I remember Bruce Hill struck some amazing deals with Netflix,
HBO. Shout out to Bruce. And when I met Bruce, I understood very fast. And Netflix is doing his model now. And I don't know if Bruce invented that or Just for Laughs invented that. I'm pretty sure it was done before. But filming, Dave Chappelle.
Yep.
Filming it costs nothing.
Yep.
And streaming it.
Yep.
Versus creating a show with 12 episodes, blah, blah, blah. And the retention rate might be even higher on the comedy show.
Yep. So they did a good job. And after that, we opened a theater in Paris called Le 13e. And a crisis happened because, the founder was allegedly caught, with women and harassment and stuff like that. So we sold the company. But that was a great brand, such a great brand. It's amazing.
It still is. Unfortunately, Chapter 11 now, but I think some Quebec entities will buy it.
We'll see.
But yeah, from the mascot all the way to the .com, everything makes sense.
Yep. And after that, I went to the working for the family office of Guy Laliberté. Guy Rouge was, having, they were doing a lot of different stuff, post Cirque du Soleil. And one of the things was some sort of an incubator for the creative industry and how, we can be more innovative and help entrepreneurs and stuff like that. So it was always the plan to have 4 different pillars to help the entrepreneur and build that ecosystem, the real estate. So they've got a beautiful space now at Maison Alcan. The human resources, having, mentors, coaches, and stuff like that. So done. They, having equipment, so that technology, and then, different, partnership. And there was the capital, but the capital was not really defined on how it's going to happen. So we worked for like 2-3 years on helping entrepreneurs and seeing where were the gap in the market, and the VC became the solution. So that's how we built the thesis, worked on the model, raise the money, and go. So that's pretty much my journey. And I'm so thankful, because I was not convinced when I hired a consultant, which is my partner now, Charles. I had no desire to be a VC. I hired him to help me add this to the ecosystem, and he convinced me. He was like, "Hey, man, you've got it all. I think you should become a partner." I'm like, "I've never done it." He's like, "Hey, you've got what you need, and you're an operator." And he gave me confidence. And after a couple of days of thinking, talking with my girlfriend, and because that you need skin in the game, you have to invest your own money and all that stuff.
It's a big decision.
I said, "Let's do it." And here am I.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm sure it's working out very well, and you're happy. You seem happy.
Yeah, I am.
And I've heard about you very well in different settings, so I think it's going well. So congrats.
Doing my best for her.
We always have to do our best.
Here
right?
we go.
As long as we do our best, I think we will make it somewhere, especially when you sleep at night, you feel good. I did my best.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful journey that you have all the way from music to a VC. It's beautiful because it makes sense when you say it. If you were to just say it like this, it might not make.
Yep.
But it really makes sense when you break it down. And for me, I'm not a VC, but I'm the owner of my company, just like you are. I'm some sort of a VC for myself. Let's say I have to have skin in the game like you all the time.
Yep.
No friends, no time, no nothing, just working all the time. But we love what we do, so I'm sure you love what you do too. All right, so let's jump into it right away to what's going on right now, right? In the VC world, AI, content creation, tech. Everybody's talking about tech, and there's a lot of words being thrown around. In 2014, when I started in VR, I swear to you, I was at Google, and some people were there and saying, by 2020, everyone's going to have a headset. And, we're 2024, and there's still no headsets around. I mean, there are a bunch because we do it, but I still don't see people walking around with them, except for the videos for Vision Pro. That's different.
Yeah.
Quick pause. Have you tried the new ChatGPT?
Yeah.
How do you like it?
I love it.
And what was some cool things you tried to do with it? And by the way, I'm talking about GPT 4.0 or 4.0, or whatever they call it there.
Yeah, it's funny. We're working with it on different level, but even crunching numbers on Excel, like just predictable models of revenues and stuff. Like it's just nuts.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. So from that to just working on a PowerPoint presentation and getting some
great
visuals, and I'm a huge user of ChatGPT. I'm not Gemini. I'm more ChatGPT.
Me too. To be honest with you, nothing against Google. I don't feel like it's as powerful. And the Bing stuff, I don't play with it either. I feel like ChatGPT is better. Well, by the way, the podcasts are all prepared by GPT.
Here you go.
OpenAI. Shout out to Y Combinator and Sam. I was watching this interview with him the other day, and he's like, "Yeah, I was just sitting there, and they told me hey, do you want to invest in Uber?" It's like I didn't know what that was. I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Yeah." Just like that, you're just sitting there. So it makes a difference where you are. I always tell this to my friends and family and my brother, sister. Where you are makes a difference. All right. I want to talk about some current trends. So what's going on in Canada right now? Obviously, recession, not recession, depending on what we want to call it, soft landing, not landing. What we do know is that our interest rates are high now.
Yep.
And it's a bit harder for lots of companies to raise. We saw many companies decided not to do IPOs, and one of them did, let's say Reddit, but at the right moment, I would say, because Well, now we don't know, but they did it just before, like, that we were sure there was not going to be any interest lowering, let's say, because in the beginning of the year, everybody's saying, oh, 6 rate cuts, then it was 5 rate cuts, now it's
1 or 2.
Or I even heard some, hey, maybe it might go up. At BDC yesterday, they said, I don't think it'll go up. At BDC, they said, oh, Canada's going to be the first one to lower the interest rate. I have difficulties believing that because usually we're followers. But you tell me, has Canada now become a leader somewhere, somehow? Can we become leaders?
We don't have the same exposure to interest rate. So, like in the U.S., you lock your mortgage rate for 30 years. So the mortgage and real estate is not that impact as we do, that we're super exposed in Canada. So that might be the reason why we'll have to do it faster than U.S.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
And in terms of VC and AI, like, we know all these words have been thrown around, but what's going on right now in Canada? Are we in a good place? Do we need to work more?
But first, I think, talking about VC landscape in general, so we're going through a winter. Yeah. Let's face it, inflation plus, high interest rate makes investors are looking for more liquid asset. And VC is not liquid because you're investing in a perspective of 6 to 10 years. Like, companies are early stage, I'm seed stage. So early stage, and since, they grow, you can do secondaries, M&A, or IPO. Takes times. And you can withdraw your money. So it's a commitment. So I think it's way harder. So what startups are living, VC are living the same thing. They've got huge challenges and to raise funds, and even more when you're an emerging manager, because in our world, you're an emerging manager until fund 3. So, and it's humbling, but every institutional or whatever investor is saying, oh, you're an emerging manager. And some, investors think it's a good thing because you're dynamic and you want to hustle your ass off. But others say, you don't have the expertise and all that stuff. So I think that's one thing that is challenging. AI has been the only thing that makes, I would say VC dynamic these days. So a lot of money has been poured in AI. So I think it's helping a lot.
It feels like maybe AI is kind of the savior
for
a lot of VCs.
It is for sure.
Is it true though? Like, is it real?
No, I think it's impossible that all those companies will survive. Impossible,
right? So, but as a VC, you bet on more than just one, so that one of them makes it, right? Or do you? Well, it depends on what stage you are.
I'm not trying to do that because we'll say,
yeah.
I know it's
spread too much. Right?
Yeah, and I know there's the power law and all that stuff, but it's like having 4 kids and saying I prefer one. One will make it like. We're investing.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah, we're investing in them because we think they're all good.
Yeah.
We know that they will not all succeed big time, but we're trying at least.
And they might not succeed not because of them, circumstances that
timing.
Can happen, right?
Luck, timing, and
so you really believe in each one of them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's excellent. I think most VCs actually believe in all of them, but some have different strategies, like you said.
Yeah, there's a sprint approach where you make so many little bets and you double down on the one that grows, and you're not offering any supports or all that stuff. And you know what? I'm not criticizing that type of strategy. It works. It worked in the past, and it's worked for some, VC. But we're not in that approach. We're super highly convicted VC. We're doing 4 or 5 deals per year. Super thesis driven, entertainment tech. So
when you it has to do with it. When you invest in a company, you really like to help them and support them. And what kind of support do you give them? Like, you might not find a client for them, but you help them. And is this very time consuming for you as
it's tailor made. I want I don't want to operate your business when I'm investing. I've got a position between 5% to 15%. invest in people mostly. So I trust the people I'm investing in. So, support can be different. It depends, what they need. So if they need the network, access to the network, yes, we'll do it. If they need more governance, because they don't know, like, oh my God, I've got a board now. What does that mean? And all that stuff. So we'll do more governance. If, they need more, support in terms of recruitment for CTOs or, salespeople, we'll help them in, with our network and with, our partners to recruit people. So it really depends, but we like to be there and support them, because, giving money, if it would be my passion, I would work for a bank. No offense for bankers. But my passion is entrepreneur. Yeah. So I want to hang out with you. I'm your friend that is always calling. Hey, can you?
What happened with this? Can you help us come to this thing? Come to that thing. There's this opportunity. So, on average, how much time do you spend with I don't know how many companies you've invested in, but let's say you have 50 companies, right?
We've got 10 so far.
Okay, 10. And do they take up your whole day? These 10 companies?
Not now, but. It's funny because in the journey of a VC, that you've got 4 years to build your portfolio. So deal flow, meeting people, like due diligence, blah, blah, and investing. But at one point, you have to shift a bit and spend more time on value creation, because you need these companies to gain momentum and, markups, later stage round, stuff like that. So I would say that, at the beginning, obviously, you're spending most of your time on deal flow and building your portfolio. But now, I would say it's a split, and I'm trying to be at least available. And I think I would say all my portfolio company that I'm leading, or same thing with my partner Bert or Charles, they know that they can ping me anytime.
That's good. That's
Sunday, 8 a.m., I'm there.
That's great, because something that I've heard a lot, and myself too in the past, I've been worried about is, VCs that start controlling us or tell us what to do, or even the other way where they're just not responsive, like the extremes, either too controlling or just not there at all. I think some people like it when they're not there at all, but if that's what you wanted, you could just get a loan or,
No, but I think it's a choice. When you're going the VC route, you have to understand that you're not only taking money, you're adding a partner. So, yes, some partners are more silent, but at the same time, I have my say. And I'm not, and it's fair and it's good to have debate. I'm seeing 3,000 companies per year. I've got access to tools. I'm meeting with other VC co-investors every day. So I think I've got a pretty good macro vision, and that's what I'm trying to bring.
Totally makes sense.
So take it or leave it. And hey, you know what? I had, heated conversation with, founders.
For sure, I'm sure.
But at the same time, it's never personal. I'm never trying to bring it personal. I'm working for the company and putting the company in at the forefront, because you know what? I want to return money to my investor if these company and those founders are not killing it.
Solid, yes.
So
yes,
yeah, I rely on that.
So, well, them winning is you winning, so you want them to win, right? And you said something. You said you see 3,000 companies a year. This is a really good point of view for someone like me or a new company that's starting. Hey, here's my pitch. How many others have pitched you the same? First of all, what looks like my pitch? What am I doing wrong? Help me out, right? So it's really good to have that outside. That's something that sometimes us entrepreneurs, we're in our bubble, right? And we think that we know everything and that we're the best, and that and that's where it gets heated. No, and we think it's personal, because we think that let's say you tell me, Azad, well, this thing, I've seen 18 of these, and I take it personal right away. Hey, Guillaume doesn't like me. It's no, Azad, relax. It's your product. He's telling you something about the market. He's talked to these different people. Relax. So yeah, entrepreneurs, don't ever take these things personal. It's all about learning. It's constructive criticism, if it's criticism. And I think for Guillaume, it's not even criticism. It's more like he wants to help his people.
And I'm trying. And for VC, everyone told me this, and that's so true. You know, the reputation of a VC, it's how you say no. Because I'm saying no all day. Like, I'm not investing in 3,000 companies.
For sure.
But it's how you do it. So, no now, no, but I can help in a different way. Let me introduce you to. Like, that's what we're trying to do. Seriously, that's really what we're trying to do. And to say no fast. Because, some VCs, they're ghosting. And, let's
stop wasting
again.
the person's time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
So, let's go fast. And, let's try to help, in different ways.
I want to jump into other things, but really quick, is there any good tool that you suggest for new entrepreneurs to use? Like, let's say when they get a quick no from you, do you like send them? Is there any websites like this? I know I've seen some, but they're not good. And I've heard some startups that do this.
Like what of
Let's say you say how much you're looking for or what your company is, and they try to match you to some people.
Yeah, there's some Airtable, running around everywhere. There's some tools, but I think it's all about nurturing your network, because one VC, and that's the other thing. Sometimes asking for advice, you'll get money, and ask for money, you'll get advice. So you're better off, sometimes going to a VC for to get to know them, and they'll introduce you to others and all that stuff. That's really how it works. It's a super gossipy. Oh my God, ecosystem, crazy.
Oh yeah, like
I'm calling other people. I'm gonna talk to you about that deal. Yeah, and but it's
you're trying to find out if they're interested too.
For sure, because we're syndicating deals, so I don't want to be alone. So we're a couple of us together. So it's interesting,
It's really
ecosystem.
Interesting. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. I think I would kind of like that job too, to be honest, because. Well, as an entrepreneur, I kind of have the same feeling as you, not just as a banker, like give you the money, more like, how can I help you? Mm-hmm. I'm outside of the bubble. I'm not in because I'm in it. And when I step out, I really see it. I'm like, dude, that's that crazy Azad guy that's over there. He's crazy because he's in his thing.
Yep.
But I have to relax, calm down, breathe.
But to go back to your initial question on Canada, I think.
Yes.
Biggest challenge and the difference between U.S. and Canada. First, U.S. is the productivity and prosperity is growing still. So Canada is more struggling big time, and the new laws on capital gain or heavy regulation or some protectionism mechanism make it not really the perfect environment for investors. So it's not the right signal, but that's my take. And in Canada, institutional, so pension fund and government arm are almost inevitable to build a fund. In U.S., it's so different. It's high net worth, endowment fund, family offices, corporates. So they can build, a VC with private money really, really fast. So it's just a different ecosystem. So we're a little bit more risk averse in Canada. There's no the circle of innovation of having big one buying the small one, integrating technology. It's not there yet. I think I'm an optimistic guy, so I think we're getting there. But it makes that the result is we like B2B SaaS, B2B SaaS model.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
so which is okay, but at the same time,
so you wouldn't take or not just you, but Canadian VCs wouldn't bet on, let's say, Facebook if Mark had came to see them back then, or let's say, well, I don't think he wouldn't have came here, but let's say he had. Yeah. Would you have bet on that, like a new social media or? It's funny.
But Slack came from Vancouver.
Yes. Right? Shopify. We have
but it's B2B, like, you know what I mean? Shopify.
Yeah, true.
But, Slack,
you're right
as well. But, you know, purely like B2C, and I'm not even talking hardware, like finding someone who's doing hardware in Canada. So I think there's less. The thing is, there's less people, there's less capital, there's aversion to risk. That makes it, you know, a little bit, you know, more challenging, I would say, for a certain type of company.
So, as a question, if you're a Canadian company that wants to raise, should you incorporate in Canada and raise in Canada, or should you just go to the United States and raise in the United States?
I think you should definitely register here. It's like I'm still proud Canadian, and
Quebec, for sure, especially if your operations are in Canada.
I think there's a huge advantage of building here. I think, you know, we've got a huge like talent base is incredible. The currency really help us these days. We've got a pretty interesting and supportive like fiscal and governmental ecosystem. So
the R&D credits, the grants.
Grants. So I think there's for sure advantages, because when you go down there, first, you know, an engineer under 200K, forget it.
Yeah, over there you just got to keep paying. At the beginning, it's like you need seed to actually go there, or more.
But the thing is that the interesting thing is, and I talked to VC in US. He was telling me, oh yeah, that's great that you guys have all that support, but at the same time, makes you a little bit more comfortable. In US, you don't have a lot of runway. You have to find a client ASAP. So it's a little bit more the hustling mentality. So I think we just have to find a way to be, I'm not saying that we're not working hard enough, but I think we have to be more passionate about the market and the go-to market and the commercialization of our product.
I think there's this thing that you know very well too, like in Canada or more even in Quebec, we're kind of scared of money, or we're scared to say that we made money or that we're rich. Mm-hmm. Obviously in the last 20 years it's changed, but when we were kids, like when we were 10 years old, it was not a good thing to say like, I have money, you know, or they would hide the car, right? I think it has to do a little bit of that. Obviously you said it too, we're not as much people. And yes, in the United States, they are so hungry. It's so different. I have 2 studios here. We have 2 studios at universities. One of them is in Quebec and one of them is in Florida. Okay, I don't want to compare directly like that. It's not the same. But the hunger of Florida, I swear to you, it's not 10 times more. It's 100 times more. And I figure, because of the grants and maybe not the credits, because the credits you actually need to do R&D, you need employees. But the grants, I feel like it makes people lazy somehow. Not directly the tech ones, but I'd say even more the music ones. And nothing against my music label friends. You know, most of the big labels in Quebec, I know them very well. They're my friends. But, you know, it kind of makes you work a little bit less. So hustle more. All right. Any interesting AI investments that you've seen in Canada, like recently, and also in the United States, that you think is going to be something?
AI, it's interesting. We made a couple bets, as a fund. First, what we see in AI, we see a lot of investment in everything related to infra, like big infra plays and productivity tools. So more, you know, backbones and picks and shovels and stuff like that. So a lot of investments are in there. And a lot of VC now, I don't have that I'm not into that situation because I'm a fairly new fund. But the one that has, you know, many portfolio companies, now they're looking back at their own, not new companies, but at their own and saying, okay, so how AI now has to be integrated in your company, and they're not spending that much new or fresh money on new portcos, but on their existing, because you have to do, you know, that risk management type of approach of saying, oh my God, you know, how exposed they are to AI in this business. Oh my God, 3 years ago that was fun, but now, ouch. So
So true.
So it's unsexy. Maybe we don't see it that much, but a lot of these seasoned investors are doing that. So, and that's interesting. What I've seen I'm following InWorld a lot for multiple reasons, because in the gaming space, they receive a lot of funding, and they were tackling the NPC, the non-playable character. They got funding from Microsoft and big players, but the way they are tackling it and trying to solve the problem in different layer is interesting. And I think gaming in general is a good launch pad for penetration of other market. Because if you screw up in a game, which is highly interactive, many humans, lots of data, but if you're screwing it, you're learning. If you're screwing your project in urban planning with AI, people might die. So I think that's going to be interesting to see how AI in gaming will define the future of the world. And it already happened with Unreal, we'll say, with 3D engine, that it was for gaming, but now architecture, many other education, many other stuff. So I think this one is an interesting one. And but the question mark is always the monetization. What's the business model? How did they make money?
How do you make money? So
I think we're gonna see that. It's gonna take 2-3 years.
So what do you think of and I know we're still on AI, and these are big words, and they don't mean much, but they mean a lot. So what do you think of Google's model with search? Is this going to change, and is advertising going to change because of AI?
I think so. They made big bets, and I think if you didn't read the story, you were not really looking at it, but there was a panic mode. They were at panic mode at Google at one point. So they made big bets.
Let's see what happens.
And DeepMind, and
DeepMind. Well, that was a big investment that I don't really see anything coming out of it.
But they just integrated it, I think, in Gemini and all that stuff.
Yeah, true.
But a lot of people exited from Google, but came back. Like the guy from DeepMind came back, and so. It's gonna be interesting, because the big one, like the challenge for VCs are, I don't want to say it's done deal, but big tech will probably own the AI market, because they to start an AI company, you need data.
Yeah,
they have the data.
They have the data. They have the server, the CPUs, the GPUs to run it. They have the wires. So while we were liking pictures, they were building these things.
Yep.
So when Google started, I swear to you, well, I would have told you in 2000 that, hey, you know what? Google is going to make billions with cloud hosting. And you would have said, are you crazy? That's just hosting. That's nothing. How could you make this much money with hosting? But as simple as that, like AWS, it's so simple. It's just computers in a room, and they're connected to the internet. But the way they complicated it to charge you, I don't know if you worked with AWS ever before, but we have some projects there, and man, they've built it to charge you.
Oh, no, for sure. Hey, they're there for a business, right? There's no free lunch.
Yeah. It was several years ago, I was at NAB show, and I saw 500 logos on a poster. I said, what's that? And the guy from AWS said, these are all the hosting companies we bought last year. I was like, wow. 500 hosting companies. So you guys are just hosting. That's what
but I'm not. But I don't want to send a message that it's done deal. I think there's going to be great AI companies, but I think that the big tech are well positioned. That's the thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. And if it's not them doing it directly, they'll probably buy the company,
for sure.
right?
Yeah,
just
which might be good for VCs and startup, because the M&A market will pick it up.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. All right, we're kind of getting towards the end of our episode. I wanted to maybe get into a little bit of entrepreneurship. We did talk about it and what it was and what you would do. I even asked you about Canada, USA, but Tell me a little bit how you guys support like local entrepreneurs, and I know you have national and international investment.
Yep.
Tell us a bit more. Well, I think you already did, but tell us a bit, just a quick recap of how you guys support entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think it's just finding the best fit and how we can complement. Because first off, when we're looking at an investment, we're looking at the founders and the team, and we're looking at ourselves in the mirror as well on saying who is the best in our team to support and how can we support them. So from GP, like the partners, our team, our analysts, senior associate, our venture partner, our investor. So we're lining up who can help, and we're just exposing that to entrepreneurs, and they pick and choose. Some don't need that much, and you know what? Fair. We're there on the side of the field and saying, hey, if you need help, we're there. Other, might need more support and ask for it, or it's just in terms of the personality as well of every founders. But yeah, we're trying to as I mentioned, recruitment, network, and governance. Usually, it's the one that are the most requested, but trying to help them navigating the fundraising as well. So
further the line,
because the thing is, you're always fundraising.
Yeah.
So it's
just like a product. You're always building. It never finishes.
There you go. And you have to nurture those relationships. And that's the thing. And one advice I would give to entrepreneurs, like these days in the situation right now that we're living, it takes longer than ever to raise. Can take up to 12 months from starting
the first day, first meeting, all the way to getting the check,
finding your lead investor, agreeing on the terms, syndicating, closing. Like it's a long process. So I would say that's one thing we're trying to help on. It's like getting being what we call deal ready, and getting that mindset of, hey, take some time always to look at who would be the next one, who would you bring in the cap table that would add value.
That's excellent. Thank you. Any notable investments that you would want to talk about recently, or any of the companies that you want to promote or talk about, or tell us about some of their interesting products?
Yeah, they're my family, so it's hard for me to tell.
Separate.
Yeah, to separate. And I think they're all cool, and they're we're obviously in fun tech, so it's so passionate.
Passionate. Focus a lot on entertainment, creativity, and obviously innovative.
Well, I would say it's everything that tech related to media, entertainment, music, sports, a creator economy. So it's pretty broad, but at the same time tech. So like infra, tooling, platform, marketplaces. We've made it's interesting because we're obviously with Bert, my partner, who sold this company to Apple and work on the Vision Pro. We're big, like I would say at the beginning, we're big believer into the next phase of the internet. So
you said it before, we were talking about
the future of internet. For us, it's 3D.
3D, exactly.
Call it the metaverse, spatial computing, unified reality. Here we go. For us, it's just normal. Our brain, our eyes are seeing 3D.
So we have two eyes, stereo.
There you go. So we're gonna go 3D.
Yeah, I believe so too.
So with headset, with phones, or whatever.
It's so well said, because I say it like this too. I'm like, I don't know what you want to call it.
Yep.
XYZ. It's 3D. Yep. It's like life, and you could be the PO. Like, you decide where to look at and what to do.
Yeah.
And you could touch stuff. Anyways, we'll go.
So that's one thing we do believe. So a lot of tools for that. So Shapes XR is one of a great example. There's like, they're trying to be the Figma of 3D. So when you're conceptualizing or mocking up your 3D environment, that's a tool they're doing. We just did an investment in Gracia AI, which is ultra photorealistic nerf technology, like Gaussian splat type of technology. So you can capture a realistic, like a real object, and bring it into 3D. So that's a tool as well, that with the 3D angle.
Very interesting.
Well, and we've got other.
Do you mind giving?
No, go ahead.
Do you mind giving us their emails? Not their emails, their websites, and we could put it in the episode.
Yeah, sure.
For people to look at.
Yeah, Gracia.ai.
Perfect.
Yep. And Masterpieces, the other thing, they're generative AI type of 3D asset. They're from Ottawa, so they're great. So the other thing is like 3D, and the other thing we really like, it's technology that connects people together. So because a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, technology is isolating us and all this stuff. I'm like, no, it's actually, it helps us, sometimes, and we do believe into that. So companies like Anomaly, that we just recently did, that's our first Web3 deal. So it's a gaming, like UGC gaming tool that helps you to do micro game on Discord and Telegram, like really for Web3 communities. And you can create your own and get your tokens, and people are playing and all that stuff. So it's not a Web3 speculative type of approach. It's really useful and engagement, and taking ownership of what you're creating, not giving it to Steam and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So we were, and the founder is just Long is incredible. So that's one thing. And Beat Connect is a collaborative gamified DAW for musicians, so you can jam.
I've heard of it. I've seen it actually.
Yeah, and they've got I think 80,000 users now.
That's very cool.
And they want to create a marketplace where musicians are making money with what they're creating and all that stuff, not touching the rights directly, but just having fun, beat making and exchanging and creating. Cool. So I can go on, and Streamforge that we just did as well. It's a platform that helps you target the right creator, influencer, streamers. You get through the self-serve platform.
As an advertiser
or a content creator.
Okay.
Mostly for gaming right now, but they're going for brands. I would say it's the bridge to gamers. So if you're Coca-Cola, you want to talk to gamers. That's a good tool. You get your brief. You've got your discovery feature, and after that the contracting, you can follow with the dashboard the conversion and the performance of your campaign. So I can go on, and Taquitos as well is another one that we did. It's hardware, but it's a screen-free solution for kids 3 to 8 years old, and it's just like technology.
It's hardware. I'm surprised. Tell us about it. So
it's 4 cubes. That's their first their first product. Is 4 cubes. You insert a card, and each card is different game, and it can be mathematical game, it can be logical game. You can play with others, and you can shake them for to hear a song. You can connect really them together to create something. And there's an IP approach as well. Like, so we can approach Disney, and there's a Lion King game and all that stuff. So
that's really interesting.
And it's I think we all see what's coming. In China, they moderated, the usage of gaming and social media. It's coming here in our schools, and we're looking more at the impact of screens with kids. So that's one thing we're like, hey, we need a solution, because board games are great, but like they're ancient a bit, and we need something to complement that. And there's interactive and fun stuff,
better quality, better materials, RFID, NFCs, all this stuff.
So hey, I couldn't talk days and night about night and days about our portfolio company. They're all great. And
well, if anyone needs more information about any of what Guillaume was saying, please visit triptyq.com, right?
.vc.
Sorry. So TRIPTYQ.VC.
Here we go.
Perfect. So a little last segment about what we love to do and what you were saying just before, right? It's interesting because why we've called our podcast Unified Reality is because for years we always called social media and digital content the broken attention economy. So because we know that advertisers, Alphabet and Meta want us to click because they make money. And so what does this do? Because it's based on clicks, creators now have, made themselves dumber in their own creations, not because they want to, but because the platforms are forcing them to create this type of content, which is clickbait, right? And so all of this, what did it do? It did that we became dumber. We created dumb content, and we became the dumb content. So the behavior control that I've been talking about for years is real, not in like a crazy way, just by, hey, if this video is going to get more clicks, then this changes my behavior when I'm creating, right?
Yeah.
And what does that do? It does that the digital becomes negative. So maybe not for us. We know how to use it, but a lot of people have difficulties with it. They become depressed or anxious. The past, the future. What am I doing? What's going on? This person has a better life. And what are these ads that I keep seeing? Like, how come I see more dumb ads than what my friends are posting, right? So the algos. Why we decided to go the unified reality way, and I've shown you stuff, and I won't talk about it now, but it's about making the digital better with the physical and making the physical better with the digital, right? So why can't we use the phone that we have in our hand, the supercomputer, to help us, not just suck our energy? Yep. And I'm not saying everything is like that. Like Gmail is perfect. I could email. But, Facebook is, different. Or TikTok is different. So that's our philosophy at Unified Reality. It's about making both of these worlds better. And hopefully we will achieve this in the next years with including you and a lot of our partners. The world. I want the world to become a better place with technology, not a worse place. In 1997, when I connected the first time on my computer, I thought that we were going to change the world. This is not what I expected. I really thought that we were going to change the world. Literally, why can't we use the phone to do votes? Like, I could be able to vote for someone right now, but no. It's a certain way because of certain things. But we won't get into that. But what do you think about the creator economy? Like, is it dead? Are influencers dead? Are NPCs going to take over? Is AI going to, destroy everything? Is content creation still alive?
I think it's more lively than ever. So, problem is, as I mentioned earlier on, there's no middle class. So we have to figure that out. Because a few people are making a lot of money and there's no middle class. And the platform, even with their creator program, whatever, they take it all. So, but at the same time, we have to keep in mind that, making will say you're getting $40 per week with your TikTok or whatever. That's nothing for you. But in other countries, $40 change your life. So, we have to think about that as well. So it's
true. We always have to think of the international, right?
Here we go. But I think the peak content TV era is done. Like with the Hollywood strike and everything, it's happening with the streaming war that moved to consolidation, all that stuff. Like, so we'll see way less, I would say, quality stuff. It's sophisticated content. So that's done. But with AI, in the creator economy, it's just going to flow. It's just, there's going to be so much content, like crazy. So I think it's going to be interesting what's going to happen. I think content is king. I don't know if you remember, back in the days. I don't see it that much anymore. Like, I think it's really your audience.
Community, right?
Community engagement. That's what will make it different and what will make you distinctive and make you live out of it. So,
you're totally right. So engagement and the quality, right? Well, content is king. I used to say it in my meetings, like 10, 15 years ago, and I think someone at some point was with me, and he pulled out a VR and said, "And VR is queen." I said, "No, don't say that. don't say that. We're not there yet." But the creator economy is shifting, I think, a lot. And one thing that you said, it's gonna get flooded, right?
Yep.
Now, is there too much content for people, not enough content for people.
Way too much.
And so what's going to happen, right? Is it based on the community and the engagement that which content is going to rise? And I guess which AI is going to rise with that content? Coming back to what I wanted to say about the content creators was, because there's so much, are we going to have new social networks? Are we going to have new distribution tools? Is publishing something that's...
Yep, I think you got it. I think there's going to be new platforms coming. I think we're there. And probably that gaming will be those platforms. Roblox is Roblox a metaverse, a game, or a social platform, or all of the three?
All of the three, I would say.
So, and you'll see more and more of that. So I think, the social platform will change. One thing that I think is broken is what you mentioned earlier on. There's no social right now that are connecting the physical, the real life with the virtual life. You know what? A lot of criticism on Facebook, but Facebook was that, like, the events and all that stuff. You know what? There was a connection. But now it's purely virtual. So there's none. There's no one who's tackling this. And I think there's an opportunity.
Yes. And hence said, what you said, unifying both, right? So unified reality, that's what we're really trying to work on, and making both worlds better. So you, I had a really cool question for you and I forgot. Oh yeah. What do you think of superfans? And we're almost done. I know you have to go soon. What do you think of superfans? Meaning that you have a YouTube channel and now you have a Patreon.
Yeah.
And these people that are on Patreon, I would consider them as superfans. And you don't need as much superfans as subscribers. Because even if today, even Mr. Beast, right? Jimmy has, I think, 267 million subscribers now. When he makes a video, not everybody gets the notification.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 25% get it. So even Jimmy could say, hey, YouTube, why do I have 267 million followers, but they don't get to see my stuff?
Mm-hmm.
The real people that are obsessed with you, I would say those are your super fans.
Yep.
And for a creator, do you really need 1 trillion super fans? Or maybe you just need 1,000 to give you $100 a month or a year. That's already 100K. For a creator, I think they'd be very happy with that.
Oh, for sure.
So I think that shift is also coming where we're not looking at creators of how many likes you have or how many people follow you. It's more like, what type of content are you creating and who's your community and what is the engagement under that community?
Yeah.
And brands want that too now.
I think it's, and you address a good point. I think the monetization of the creator economy is going to be redefined. I think overall. So is it your super fan that will get rewarded or pay for exclusive content? Is there going to be a privileged access, gated access, as we see, with gated walls or whatever? So I think it's going to be interesting how the monetization will happen, and I don't think what's happening right now is sustainable because let's be honest, platforms are making money out of our creativity. So they will have to have a better split, or new people, like people will take ownership of what they're doing. And you see with some blockchain and Web3 communities, people are like, traceability, ownership. So you see that type of movement going, and you see other with Patreon and other platform that you've got paid communities. So I think it's hard for me to say, do you have to spend more time and attention on super fans? I think it's how you want to build your ecosystem around you. So, and some people it's through advertising. Let's face it, Mr. Beast is selling stuff for so many brands, but some creators are not comfortable with that. And you know what? Great. But, for Mr. Beast, it works well. He's getting a lot of, money out of that. So I think it's just how you want to create your own ecosystem with your own tools. But at one point, creator will have to be rewarded for, the artwork they're doing.
Yeah, it's really challenging to be a creator. Like you just said, like some of them like it, some of them don't. But there's this intrinsic law that you can't ignore. Brands and influencers or content creators go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like you have to sell something to be an influencer or a content creator.
Yeah.
Content creator is just another word for advertiser or marketing.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I'm addressing, go ahead.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt, but maybe at one point as well, medias and social were distributors. They were the channel to get to the audience. At one point, creators and everybody, creator, from nano influencer to, they'll become the channel. So that's going to be interesting to see how it consolidate, or is there tools or platform to saying, okay, my God, I'm going to do the same thing, reaching the right people, the right audience, blah blah blah, but through them, because they are channels.
Exactly, that's exactly what it is. So remember before I talked about PewDiePie and how we were like, hey, PewDiePie has more subscribers than all of the medias in the United States. This was in 2012. So those were channels. Now PewDiePie is a channel, or Jimmy's a channel. These are channels. But the only thing the difference that I think is going to rise is Alphabet and YouTube going to control those channels, or are those channels going to be independently owned and controlled themselves? Is there going to be some sort of CRTC or whatever that's going to manage all this? I guess so, right? We'll see what happens. But I would like to be part of that solution somehow for the future, because when I started, this is what I used to do. YouTube wasn't monetized. We had maybe a bunch, I don't know how many views we had, and we weren't making money. So we had to create an agency and then, charge people. And it was a struggle. 2008, 2009, I used to tell brands, let's make a pre-roll video. They would laugh at me. What's a pre-roll video? And now they Azad, have you heard of a pre-roll video? I'm like, yeah. It's like, so at some point I was a Google partner, and unfortunately for Google, I have nothing against you guys, but you guys did this to me, and that's why I stopped. They stole a client from me directly. It was a big account. I had maybe $6-7 million of media buy for them, and I was making 10% from the client. They told the client, listen, that will be your discount. You don't need to pay that guy no more. We'll assign you an agency here in Palo Alto, and we will do everything for you. So let's not forget that the platforms that run all of this is nothing more than just marketing and advertising. Literally advertising. Let's not even say marketing. Advertising dollars. Oh, excellent. One more thing, and we'll let you go, my friend. I know we talked about AI and all of that stuff, and we did talk about ChatGPT, but what is one of your favorite apps right now that you're using a lot and it helps you a lot? Like a CRM, or it could be anything really. It could be a phone app or a computer.
I've seen one. I'm seeing, right now there's one thing, one movement that I'm seeing that I'm really interested. I've seen it first with, an entrepreneur, and shout out to him, that started a startup called Storied Work. And I heard it after to other, AI company, but reverse engineering the AI in the prompting. So instead of prompting to get an answer, is the AI prompting question at you.
That's really good.
Okay, to enhance the content you're trying to create, and that's exactly. And the Storied Work, the way he's doing it, it's voice to documents. So it's like us. You talk to that AI saying, okay, I want to write a brief for a marketing agency, blah 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 blah. I want to do this, 2 pagers, let's say, blah blah. After that, they're prompting the question. Okay, when you were talking about the brief, are you talking about marketing? Oh, yeah, we're talking about marketing brief. And they're questioning.
Good.
And after that, the output is your 2-pager, like super solid.
So good.
So I think that I'm not using it that much because it's like still beta and early access. But I found it really, really interesting. And I think that approach for me is great. It's like, it's your companion. and it's asking you questions. So I really like that one. So I'll and it's a shout out to an amazing entrepreneur that is doing it right now.
Is he local or the United States?
Yeah, United States.
Well, shout out to him.
Yeah, San Fran.
That's really interesting. Well, the ChatGPT 4 one is kind of a bit familiar, but not there yet. But we're getting there, man.
Oh, my ChatGPT is always open.
Yeah, me too.
Always open, and it's for me. It's I'm probably like my hamster is always running, so it helps me just keeping my thought organized.
You take like notes with it too and all that stuff.
Sure.
Me too. Same thing.
Yeah.
Take notes with. I do almost everything with it.
And the Fireflies, I think
Yeah,
as well is one of the that we're using.
The funniest thing I saw recently with ChatGPT was someone using it as a calculator.
Oh wow!
I was like, well, yeah, why not?
Sure.
It's like, well, it's my one app that I could do everything with.
That's true.
It's like, yeah, great. Thank you for being on our show. Is there anything that you wanted to add to our conversation or anything that you want to shout out?
Shout out to you guys.
Thanks
you for doing that. I think it's
shout out to your partners, Bertrand Neveu. By the way, you mentioned him very quick. Bertrand is an OG in the VR XR space. He worked with the Apple team, Vision Pro. Our crowd has seen the Vision Pro, so you guys are not familiar with it. But yeah, we have right here in Montreal, our beautiful city, someone that worked on it, and your associate.
Yep.
That's beautiful. All right, man. So as a recap for this episode, we talked a lot about money, VCs, and AI. And in our next episodes, we will continue to do the same, obviously with our vision, which is unified reality. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Guillaume.
Thanks, guys.
It's great to have you.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.